Jeffrey, you have been very adamant over the last couple months, very consistent in this, and so have some of the other national folks that have been on our station, that with the Mariners pitching, you have to go for it. The time is now. You've got to make moves to help this pitching and maximize this pitching with where it's at. Do you feel like right now, with 6+ hours to go in the trade deadline, the Mariners have acquiesced and done what you have said, have gone for it to add to this pitching staff?
Yeah, I look, maybe there's another move there, maybe another move or two, but I don't think they're going to be big moves. I don't think they're going to necessarily take another swing unless the market comes to them. And there are enough teams out there right now that I think are in more desperate need of moves, that the prices are going to be higher than what the Mariners are comfortable paying. But I think it speaks to their farm system and their draft last year. My goodness. Like, it was an incredible draft. And just the idea that they can take their 9th-round pick and R.J. Schreck and get Justin Turner out of them, that's what good drafts are for. They are to build for the future, but they're also to potentially build for the present.
Talk through these three players and what they could bring here over the course of the next couple of months. And the star of that, of course, is Arozarena. You've said now a couple of times he might be the most impactful bat dealt. Maybe it's Paredes, but in all likelihood right now it's Arozarena. What makes him special?
I think his ability to embrace big moments. He is not scared by spotlight. He is not scared by important games. He is not scared by anything. And that lack of fear, it can be a detriment for players sometimes, right? But Randy Arozarena has the ability to channel all of his energies toward the right things. And I think he needs to be in the middle of something that matters for him to extract the most out of himself. And suddenly he's in the middle of something that really matters.
Best case over the final 54 games, best thing that Justin Turner can do for this clubhouse and this team on the field?
The clubhouse, make sure that after bad games or stretches, they don't hang their head. And on the field, get on base. Justin Turner's not going to be slugging 30 home runs, but one thing he can do and has always done is take really good at bats. And as long as he doesn't fall prey to some of the pressing, I think, that has plagued this Mariners offense this year, where everybody feels like he has to do something because nobody's doing anything, he knows better than that.
And then, just to come back to Jimmy Garcia again, he's been on virtually every team in baseball. You said that he's kind of underrated. How does a guy like that just sort of, I don't know, like how are you still underrated, and how does everybody let you go if you're kind of effective everywhere you are?
Yeah, he's been good enough, right? But I think over time he has figured out how to be a little bit better than that. And the ability for pitchers to figure things out now is greater than ever. And so I think where he is today is it's in a different environment than it was, how long ago did he come up? 7 or 8 years?
Something like that.
He was with the Dodgers early on, and you're right, he has bounced around a lot of places, but all it takes sometimes, Mike, is a new pitch. All it takes is figuring out a little bit of command or better sequencing, or there are so many different ways to become a better pitcher. And Jimmy Garcia cracked something and now looks like the sort of guy who can close games out. And I know the Mariners have one of those already, and he's really good. But the idea that somebody can go from nothing into something pretty awesome, all you have to do is look at Jason Adam. Like, Jason Adam was with Kansas City. He was with Milwaukee, I believe. He was with the Cubs. He got signed after the lockout ended by the Rays. It was like a late March signing. And 3 years later, he's getting turned around for one of the best returns of the deadline. And why? In his late 20s and early 30s, he figured it out. And so I don't necessarily look at guys like Garcia and like Adam as anomalies anymore, as exceptions to the rule. They're examples of how baseball has evolved to not necessarily throw away talented arms just because they haven't performed. You simply need to try and find the best in them. And a lot of guys don't, but the ones who do really can benefit from it.
Let me ask you about one other guy who wasn't a trade deadline acquisition, but he didn't start the year with the Mariners, and that is Victor Robles, who over the last couple weeks has been hotter than the sun after just completely flaming out in Washington. Not that I'm expecting him to be a 1,100 OPS guy forever, but how sustainable is what we've seen from Victor Robles?
I'm not going to say it's sustainable at this point because we've had, a half decade of him not being this. What I will say is that sometimes a guy just needs to change of scenery to bring out the best in him. Sometimes things feel a little bit stale. Sometimes you can go to a place and hear something from a new set of coaches that opens up your world. And what Victor Robles has done over the last month has been nothing short of incredible. But the tools have always been there. He would not be a top 10 prospect in all of baseball otherwise. And if the Mariners lucked into or helped draw out a late bloomer here, that's the kind of move that buoys a season. That's the kind of thing where, when Julio Rodriguez goes out, if Victor Robles isn't around, you say, "Oh God." But the way Victor Robles has been playing, you can say, "Okay, we're going to weather this, and Robles is going to be all right in center field, and we're going to get through it." And when he comes back, push him to a corner.